Hi, we are about to start in 2 minutes. I'm doing some testing. Okay, everything seems to work. So yeah, the time should be in 1 minute and a half, and I will start. I'm not sure if I can change the language of my interface. Maybe I should change the language here. Data location storage language. Oh, this is the preferred language. Okay, I don't know why this is in Spanish, but anyway. Hi, I see that some people are coming. I see the amount of people that it's inside the video, but I don't know who you are until you write something on the chat, okay? Okay, I'm going to start in 1 minute. Maybe I can change the language from here. Let me check. Yeah, language. English. Okay. No, it's not. Well, I guess my computer is set in Spanish so that this is detecting only Spanish. I don't know why, but anyway. So, okay, I think it's time to start. So welcome everyone here live, and also people watching later on YouTube. Okay, so today's webinar is different. It's about Codoozer, but it's not about apps. Okay, so I mean, if you don't have any experience on Codoozer, you shouldn't worry about that, because today we're not going to talk about apps. Okay, we're going to talk about the new functionality, or the new version, or the new feature of Codoozer. Okay, so I guess this has happened to you the same as to me. Okay, so for me, in so many cases in the past, when I wanted to do, as a marketing guy, when I wanted to put some content in our website, like for announcing something, or adding some promo, or adding some widget to make a survey, or anything, okay, I always had to ask my programmers to include that in the website. Okay, so they should change the content in the website, upload a new version. Okay, that normally takes time. Okay, and there are plenty of times I didn't even ask them, sorry. So we lost a lot of opportunities to announce things to our customers, okay, or to our potential customers. So, well, so the new feature of Codoozer is for avoiding that. Okay, so we have called this feature Codoozer-Flows. Okay, so it's a new version of Codoozer, so that with this you are going to be able to add content or extend the content of your website without programming and without asking your programmers. Okay, so you will only ask your programmers to add 2 lines or 4 lines of code in the website, and from that moment you will be able to add anything to your website. Okay, so for example, we have this here on the screen. I'm sorry, this is in Spanish. I don't know why. I mean, this is multi-language, but it's detecting Spanish in my computer. I don't know I think it's something about this new Mac that I have. Okay, so yeah, for example, this pop-up here, when you access Codoozer, you see this pop-up here, you know, with some info, with some buttons. Okay, so this is something that I have added to Codoozer without asking my colleagues. Okay, and I could change this in seconds and have it live on our website. Okay, and I'm going to give you another example. For example, in MovingCube, whenever someone creates an account, okay, so it's here, maybe not here. Okay, yeah, I think I have a cookie here. Let me open a session in a new computer. In a new tab. Okay, everyone that creates a new account, well, I have this hack to have it here. Okay, maybe I'm doing something wrong. I should see this dialog here. Okay, I don't know what I did wrong. Anyway. Okay, well, we will see some examples later. Okay, but the thing is that I'm going to explain how to create things like that. So you can create this for showing something like that. Okay, so whenever someone comes to your website, you can start like guiding them or giving tips, things like that, or announcing, you know, coupon promotions, anything. Okay, or you can add widgets to your website. So basically, if you want to add that, you are going to, well, of course, have a new have a Codoozer account. Okay, and then start a project from scratch. Then enter the name of the project, like webinar, for example, and select flow. Okay. Sorry, I'm having some trouble with my connection today, so okay, so well, I'm not sure if all of you are familiar with Codoozer, so I'm going to explain a little bit. Okay, since this is not only for Codoozer users, I'm going to explain a little bit about our interface and about Codoozer. Okay, so well, Codoozer is a platform for creating software without programming. Okay, it's a low code platform. I mean, you are not going to need to code, but you are going to need to think like a programmer. Okay, so but you don't need any programming skills. I mean, you don't need to have any programming skills. Okay, so you're going to learn how to think that way, but without programming. Okay, so we launched Codoozer like almost 1 year ago, and well, at the beginning it was only for Android apps. Okay, now people can create iOS apps and also landing pages. Okay, for websites, landing websites. Okay, and since this week you are going to be able to create these flows. Okay, so basically flows are like layers that you put on your website, and then you can control the content in those layers. Okay, so you're going to be able to edit those layers from here, from Codoozer, publish them, and they will be published on your website in 2 seconds. Okay, so well, this is our interface. Here you will see on the left side a bar. This is the Dojo bar, because well, Codoozer is part of Dojo. Dojo is a set of tools for doing your own stuff. Okay, for creating software, for hosting your files on the cloud, and for editing videos, and we are going to launch new tools soon. Okay, so that's Dojo. So when you register on Codoozer, you are registering on Dojo. Okay, and you have access to other tools. Okay, so from here you can control your Dojo account in the left bottom corner, and in the left bar on the top you have some options for managing the project you're working on. Okay, so then you have this, after you created a new project, you have this gray bar here on the left. Okay, this is where you are going to locate your files and your folders. Okay, because all your projects, I mean your app projects, your flow projects, consists of a set of files and folders basically. Okay, and this white area is the working area. So this is where you are going to edit any file that you select here. Okay, so let's start creating a flow. Okay, so well, your project can have different flows, and every flow is a group of what we call steps. Okay, so you can have a flow with only one step, or you can have a flow so the user can go from one step to another step. Okay, so you can have like assistants in your screen so that the user can go from one step, from one pop-up to the next one to the next one. Okay, so you can track all your website and explain how to use your website to your visitors, for example. Okay, so yeah, so here we have this flows folder. So here is where you are going to have all your flows. Okay, by default, when you create a new project, you have the main flow created. That's empty, but it's there. Okay, then you have the rest folder. This is where you are going to upload pictures, videos, fonts, or any resource that you want to show in your flows. Okay, and then you have the app file. Okay, so the app file is basically the global configuration of your project. Okay, so here you have the name of the project. Well, you cannot edit the type of project. This is a flow. Okay, then you can add a description, you can have some colors, and you can add some extra things. Okay, some configuration like Google Analytics, for example. Okay, okay, so well, this is basically what Codoozer-Flow is. Okay, and now we are going to, I'm going to explain how to integrate this in your website. Okay, and then I will explain how to create our first flow. Okay, so basically I told you at the beginning that you only need to ask your programmers to put 4 lines of code in your website. Okay, so that's super simple. And well, basically they just need to add our library in your website. Okay, and after that you will be able to publish anything. Okay, so if you go to this website, npm, well, if you can just put on Google npm, okay, and it should be the first result, npmjs.com. Okay, and here you can look for Codoozer. Okay, well, you will see 2 libraries. It's the second one, Codoozer-Flow. Okay, and then here you have some description. Well, if you give this to your programmer, he or she or them, they will understand. Okay, so basically I'm going to give you an example. Okay, so basically you need to, if it's a React project, if your website is built on React, then they will need to do this. Okay, and if it's an HTML, a pure HTML, they can use CDN. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I have this website. This is only a template. This is a template from HTML5 app. Okay, they provide templates. Okay, I put this template on this URL on my server. Okay, and here I have the code of my website. Okay, I have the index.html. Okay, so I just need to take these 2 lines, paste them here inside the head of my website. Then I have to start. These 2 lines are for importing our library, the Codoozer library, and then these 2 lines. Okay, forget about this line. Forget about this one. We need to improve this information. Okay, we will do this next week. So take these 2 lines and take them to your website. You can put it here, at the end of the body or anywhere. Okay, I'm going to put them here. Use this script. And then inside you can paste this. Okay, and we're almost set. Okay, and then you see this hash word. Okay, you have to replace this with the identifier of your flow project. Okay, so let's go back to Codoozer. Okay, and for getting the hash, you need to publish. Click here on this button. So this will publish your project. Okay, so you get a hash. So this text is the one that you need to take to your website. Put it here. Okay, and that's it. Sorry, I added some extra space. I have a new computer and my keyboard is too small for me. Okay, so now we're ready. I mean, our website is ready. I can upload it to the server. And from this moment, I'm going to have full control of the content I want to add to my website, okay, without asking my programmers. Okay, so I can forget forever about my source code. Okay, so now I'm going to do everything from here, from Codoozer. Okay, so well, let's go to the main flow. Okay, and the main flow has an ID. I can change this ID if I want. Has a title, okay, which is useless, I think, and has some steps. Okay, so here I can add steps, and steps are like boxes that will be displayed on layers, okay, on my website. So I can add steps, like let's add the first one. Click here on the plus button, and you should always name your steps with a name that makes sense. Okay, for example, I'm going to call this one like welcome. Okay, and then here I can add some text like hello world, for example. This is super typical. Okay, and the last thing I need to do to start seeing this in my website is go to the app and tell my project which is my first step. Okay, so here you can add an event. So events are things that might happen, like our library, when the library is ready. I mean, if someone loads our website and then the Codoozer library is loaded, then after being loaded, it will be ready. Okay, so that's an event. When the library is ready to start, there's an event. Okay, so inside an event, I can add functions. Okay, so functions are like behaviors that I want functions are the way I want my project to behave when the library is ready. Okay, so well, there's a function that's it's called go to. Okay, so I can go to a step, welcome. Okay, and that's it. So if now I publish again and I go to my website, it takes like 2 seconds normally. Okay, well, 3. If I refresh my website, I will see my dialog here. Okay, and I'm not sure if you realize, but there's a dark background. Okay, here you see. So how can I get rid? I mean, sometimes you want your where is it? You want this background, okay? Because sometimes you just want to announce something and block the content behind, okay? But you can change these properties. So now I'm going to start playing with the properties and the styling of my flows, okay? So let's go back to main flow, and well, the whole flow can have a background. So by default is the darken, but I can change this to transparent. Well, I have some colors here. I can change it to transparent. Okay, if I publish again, takes 2 seconds. And I mean, since the background of, since this website is dark already, I'm not sure if you will realize, but let me refresh and you will see it not that dark. Okay, so let's go back. Well, and regarding colors, okay, I could add here a color. I mean, instead of this add color dot transparent, I could add like this symbol, the number symbol, and then FFF, which is white. If you put this, then you will see this box. So from here you can change the color. If I publish, I see this red background, you see? So whenever you need to enter a color, you can use this, I mean the code of your color, or you can use a color in the table, okay? Those that start with add color dot something, these are the colors that are defined here in the app file in the color table. Okay, so this is very useful because I would always recommend to use these type of colors instead of the code, the hexadecimal code of this color in every place. Okay, because if you want to change the style of the whole thing, you only need to change colors here. Okay, and the whole project will change colors. So let's go back to my steps. Okay, so I have this step, and I can add more features or parameters to my step. Okay, so now I only have an ID and a text, but I can add some features like the blocking. Okay, so let's go back to our website. Well, no, let's change this again to, well, we can use transparent. Okay, now I have my step, but if you realize that I can still click on things. Okay, so if you want your users to not be able to click on the background, you can add this feature that says blocking for this step. So if I publish and I go back to my website, okay, now I cannot click on the elements behind, and I cannot even do a scrolling. Okay, so what else we got? We have this closable that will add a close button. Okay, you see? Or you can add a title like welcome. I can publish again. Okay, now I see the title, and I can add some styling. If you put here style, and from style you can add, like, if you want to make your dialogue bigger, you can add some width, for example like 800. Okay, well, here you have on the right corner you have a representation of your project. Okay, you can change the size of this visor, or you can hide it. Okay, okay, let me publish again. Okay, now you see it's bigger. And then I can add buttons. Well, for buttons I can have like global buttons for my whole flow, or buttons that are only specific for my step. Okay, so I can define my default buttons for this flow, like here, buttons, and I have the negative and the positive. Okay, I could add one label here that says next, for example. Okay, and also there's another parameter for buttons, that is the on click. This is an event. Normally when the parameter starts with on, it means that it's an event. Okay, so whenever someone clicks on this button, I want to do something. So I have these functions here. I can go back, I can open the browser in another tab or in this tab. Finish will end this flow, or I can go to some other step, or I can go to the next step. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, the next step will be the next in this sequence. Okay, well, the difference between next and go to is that next goes always to the next one here in this sequence, and with go to I can go to a different one that is not in the sequence. Okay, so well, I have this positive button, so if I want to use the default button in my step, I can add here the button positive. Okay, let's publish and go to the website. Okay, and this should go to the next step, but since there's no next step, this will end the whole flow. Okay, then what else? Well, for styling we could add no. Let me add the, well, no, let's keep with buttons. So if I don't want to use positive, I mean the default ones, I could create my own buttons for this step. They are created the same, like close, and I could do something like finish, for example. You see that this is real time, right? Okay, now I can click here and close. Okay, and it's closed. Well, the colors for these buttons are taken from my color table. Okay, here you see that there are some colors that I can remove, but there are some that I cannot remove. Okay, it's the primary dark, the primary light. Okay, this here. So these are the default colors for my project. So if I want to change the color of my texts or buttons, okay, I can change this. For example, if I want to change to blue colors or orange, for example, I could have a darker one and a lighter one. Okay, for example, so if I republish, I will see different colors. You see? Okay, so I also can change the position of my box. With the style of this step, I can make it to the right with edge align and also vertical align. For example, bottom. Let's publish again. Okay, now it's here. What else? Well, that's about styling. Well, you have some more options about styling. Okay, but let's continue. Then we have this target. Okay, this is in case you want to place your box next to some element of your website. Okay, for example, let me show you here on Codoozer. For example, I have this hack. So if I think it's webinar, if I use the webinar word here, yeah, so now I'm not watching here my welcome dialog. I'm watching this one. Okay, so this is for help. For example, if you want to add help to your website, you could do something like that. So here I can have these dialogues that go next to some element in my website. So if I want to know what each single button does, I could click here and then how my website works. Okay, so this is a flow that has different steps, and each step is targeting some element in my website. Okay, so you basically create here a selector. Okay, well, for this you need to know some basics about HTML. For example, if you have this website, you could do something like inspect or F12. Okay, and there are some things in your website that they have one ID. Okay, for example, this is called ID banner. Okay, so you could do something like this. Okay, well, next week we are going to make some improvements here, so you won't need to add this symbol. You will be able to just put banner, okay, and this dialog will go to that banner. Okay, you will be able to change the shape and add some events here. Okay, but let's not do, I mean, we will do this, I mean, we will talk about this next week. Okay, then I can add content. If I don't want just text, okay, I can remove the text and I can add content. Okay, and for content I can add, well, I can add text, of course, but I can add images, I can add PDFs, I can add video files, I can add a website inside my dialog, or I can add a YouTube video, for example. Okay, well, let's start with a text. So basically we're going to do the same. Add like here, hello world. If I publish now, I will see basically the same, but with a big difference. I'm not using the default text, I'm using a text component. Okay, so now I will be able to style my text. Okay, so for example, if I want to change the font for that text, well, let me find, I think I have some resources here. For example, I have this font. If I want to add this font to Codoozer, I just need to drag and drop the file. Okay, so now I can, well, here I have some features for my text. I have one feature or one parameter that is font, and now I can select the one that I just dropped on Codoozer. Okay, let me change the visor to landscape, and I can add a different text size, for example 42. Let's publish again. Okay, you see I have a bigger text. Okay, so what else? I could add images, for example, an image. Well, by default I only have this image here, but I can drag and drop a new image. So for example, I have this image, I can drop it. Now delete this and select the other image. Okay, well, I can change the size, for example 64, and publish. Okay, so what else? Well, I can add a website as well, but let's do a real example. Okay, so imagine that I want to add to this website, I want to add some widget to make reservations. Okay, so I could integrate with any other third-party provider tool if they offer some HTML tool. Okay, for example, I'm not sure if you know Calendly. Okay, this is for making appointments. Okay, so when you create an event on Calendly, they give you a URL or a link. Okay, I'm going to use this URL here in one step. Okay, so I'm going to create a new step. I'm going to call it, for example, or booking, for example, without text. I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to add some content. Okay, and the content is going to be just a website. Let's call it like Calendly, for example. Okay, and I'm going to give it some sizing, like 450 width, this is pixels, and 650, for example. Okay, and now for websites, this is type web. For websites, I can let me remove this. I can add the URL, and I'm going to paste here my Calendly URL. Okay, so this should work. Okay, so now I have this Calendly step, but if I publish and reload, I won't still see Calendly. Okay, because it's loading the only, like I have it here in the app file. it's still loading only the welcome step. So how can I go from welcome step to the other step? Okay, well, we have this button, okay, with the, well, this one was finishing. We, instead of doing this, instead of using a button, I'm going to show you how you can create and turn any component into a button. Okay, for example, this image, I have this, for example, button booking, and let's add some action to this image. So I can add this parameter called onClick. So whenever they click on this button or on this image, I can do some function like go to and booking. Okay, so let's publish and reload. Now I can click, you see, in this image, and it opens my Calendly dialog. Okay, so let's make this nicer. Okay, so I'm going to remove the text. Okay, and I'm going to remove the size, or well, I can do this like 96 or 72 maybe, and hide 72. I'm going to remove the title, and well, normally by default every step has some padding. You see this padding here, so if you want to remove the padding, you have to add a 0 padding. Okay, and my button should be 72 as well. Okay, and well, now it has a white background. If you want to remove the background for this step, in the styling you can add a background and use transparent. Okay, so now I have my step there. Let me republish. Okay, and I can click here and I will see my reservation. Okay, and well, let's finish this. Let's make it not blocking, so remove this, and yeah, and add some styling to my booking step. I'm going to put it also on the right side, on the end, and on the bottom. Okay, so well, for this step I want to add some close button, so let me add a button, and the label will say close, and whenever they click on it, I want, instead of next, I want to go to welcome. Okay, let's republish. And refresh. Well, now I can click on my website. You see, I can do a scroll, but my step is always here. If I click on it, I see my reservation, and now I can close it and go back to my widget. You see how cool this is? So I just added a widget to my website and I didn't ask my programmers. Okay, well, you can do Codoozer-Flows for doing things like this one, for adding a widget, or you could do a lot more things like adding help to your website, adding chats. I mean, there's a lot of tools that provide a website, an HTML chat. You could add it here as well. Okay, so what else? Well, now we have linked 2 steps. Well, you can add more steps, but, and well, as you have seen now, I mean, when I go from one step to another step, the first step disappears. Okay, but what if you want to have like several widgets in your website? So you can also do that with a different flow. So you can create a new flow, like let's call it second flow. Okay, and you could add here like something, one step, help, for example, and it could be like click here for help, for example. Okay, and I'm going to put it some styling, and on the other corner it's align start and be align button. Okay, so well, I'm not going to do the whole actions and all the flow. Okay, I just want to show you that you can have two flows on your website at the same time. Okay, so whenever they load my website and the library is ready, here with go to welcome, I'm going to the welcome step. Okay, so I could add another function, go to help. Okay, but let's see what happens if I publish and refresh my website. Okay, now I'm only having the second one. You see, I'm not having my reservations flow. So why is that? Because I mean, if you in the same function sequence you do to go to actions or go to functions, okay, it will try to go to welcome, but then it will go to help. Okay, so the last one is the one that is the preferred go to. Okay, so it will go to welcome, but then it will go to help. Okay, so I mean the welcome will disappear in no time. Okay, so if you want to open a second step without closing the previous one, you have to add this parameter and call it new layer. Okay, so it will open the other one in a different layer. Okay, so since it's a new layer, the previous layer will still be there. Okay, so I'm going to publish and refresh. Okay, now you see I have both. Well, the background is darkened. Okay, you see now this icon is a bit dark. Okay, this is because my second flow has the default background, so I need to add this background transparent. Okay, because I mean, since the help step is in the second flow and the second flow has a background, since you open this layer after the first one, okay, the background of the second flow is going to hide the content below, okay, or behind. But now I can have my two widgets. Okay, so this is cool, right? What else? Well, you can track, for example, here in the app file, you can add Google Analytics. Here, if you create a project on Analytics and you get the ID from Google, you can put it here so that you will be able to track functions. For example, there's a function called track, and you can here put the name of the event you want to track. So you will see that on Google Analytics in real time. Okay. What else? Then well, of course, you can have cool designs, not only the example I made. You have things like this. Let's reload Codoozer so I see my welcome dialog. Okay, you see here that you have a more complex structure for this step. Okay, I have like 2 columns, and here I have some buttons, I have some images. Okay, so well, basically that's only built with the content structure. Okay, here you can create group components so that you can arrange content or horizontally or vertically, things like that. Okay, next week I will explain how to improve the design of your steps. Okay, so you can create super cool steps. Okay, but not today. Okay, today I just want to give you an overview of things that you can do. Okay, and then in the next weeks I will start talking more about some features that you can use for making your project, your flow project, super cool. Okay, well, you can also add some logic behind this. Okay, you can save values. For example, let's go to Moving Cube. Hold on, I think I have it here. Oh yeah, I was doing it wrong. For example, I'm here on Moving Cube. You can do hacks like adding something. Okay, if you access Moving Cube, you won't see the dialog. I mean, unless you create a new account. Okay, but I have this hack. So if I enter this in my website, in my URL, then I will see the dialog. Let me press. Oh, I lost my session. Let me re-enter. Okay, now you see here my flow. Okay, so this is a more complex flow because I can click on continue. Okay, then I'm asking some things to our users, to the new users that register on Moving Cube. Okay, well, sorry, this is in Spanish. I don't know why my computer didn't change the language. Okay, but this is multi-language. Okay, so if you access Moving Cube and you don't speak Spanish, you should see this in English. Okay, so well, we launched this last week and we increased sales on Moving Cube, by the way. Okay, so only for adding a flow. So here we're using this on Moving Cube to ask our new users some questions. Okay, so they cannot touch anything on the website until they finish this 1-minute questionnaire. Okay, so from here we are asking them what type of apps they want to do. Okay, some questions, and we are keeping track of these questions. Okay, we're asking for their tech level, so if they are good or if they are programmers, things like that. Okay, so depending on their answers, we are like going to different flows. Okay, we are talking about coupons, things like that. Okay, so we can take them to a different page. Okay, so this is another example of what you can do with flows. Okay, so yeah, and how I'm doing this hack. Okay, I was doing this hack like adding this, right? Well, so you can do things like that because Codoozer-Flows allow you to add some logic. Okay, it's not only about clicking here and going there. Okay, you can also make conditions. Okay, for example, let's go to the app file, and for example, we could do something like this, like show help only if something. For example, this is my function. I can add this if. So this makes a condition. Okay, so for example, you should put here the add symbol, and then you will get some options. Okay, like add window.location. This means the URL of my current website, and href. So this is the whole URL. Okay, so if my URL is, for example, well, in fact, I have two pages here. So let's do this. For example, if I click here, I go to this landing.html. Okay, so for example, only show this if the website is landing.html. Okay, for example. Okay, but what happens here that I don't have my library in this other page. Okay, so when we ask our programmers to add these lines of codes to import our library, we should tell them in which pages of our whole website they should put the library. Okay, so well, if it's a React website, then you shouldn't worry about that because your library will be there always. Okay, but if it's a classic website made with different HTML files, then you will need to import these 4 lines to every page of your website, or at least in those where you want to have control of the content. So paste it here, and then the other part. Okay, so I'm not going to upload the landing.html. So now I'm going to publish. Let's go back to index. Okay, so now I refreshed and see that I have this first widget here, but I don't see the second widget. So if I go to the next page, to landing, it reloads, and what happens? Let's see if I, sorry, maybe I didn't. Okay. Maybe I didn't publish. Okay. Or yeah, now. Okay, you see that now it loaded my website. Okay, and when the library was ready again, since it's a new page, it has to reload the library again. So since it's loaded, then I see also, I mean, the second function is executed. Okay, I can use other things. Instead of href, I can use, for example, hash. This is my hack, the hack I did. Okay, so if my hash is like testing, for example, okay, if now I publish, I go back to index and I reload. Okay, now I don't see my second widget. Okay, but if I add this testing, now I see my 2 widgets. Okay, for example. And well, I can do more things regarding logic. Okay, so I could do something like, for example, in my main flow, if they click on the on the booking image, I can add some logic by storing some data in what we call cookies or properties. Okay, so let me add a function here called set, and here I can use add cookie dot booked, for example, and I can give value true. Okay, and let me put this before go to. Okay, and here I'm going to show the second widget only if cookie dot booked is true. Okay, so if I republish, go to my website, I can forget about this hash. Okay, now I don't see this second widget, right? But I'm going to click here to make a reservation, or at least click here. Okay, so next time I mean, if I come back tomorrow to this website, and I load it again, it should show me the cookie, but I did something wrong. Cookie, wait, I'm not sure, maybe this true value doesn't work. Set. Let me try again. Okay, now it should have the true value. Okay, well, maybe this is on because maybe I need to use numbers, I think. Okay, let's use numbers. And okay, maybe the Boolean value true or false is not yet active, but let's try. Okay, click here. Okay, now if I refresh, yeah, okay, the true and false is not working. That should be something small. We will fix that. Okay, but if you use numbers for like counters, things like that, okay, now you see that I'm adding some logic. Okay, so that's the thing we're using here on MovingCube. In this thing, we are giving some values. So depending on previous answers, we are like creating branches. Okay, so I mean the resulting dialog is different. It depends on the number of answers they gave us. Okay. Okay, and what else? Well, I think that's enough for today. Okay, because I mean there are much more things you can do, but today I wanted to give you a quick tour, okay, so that you can make an idea of things you can do. Okay, so for the next weeks we will keep talking about Codoozer-Flows. I will explain how to make super nice designs. I will talk about logic. I will talk about these targets so that you can make your steps follow parts of your website to create assistants, okay, and things like that. Okay, but today I just wanted you to get used to our interface in case you didn't know Codoozer, things like that. Okay, and well, let me talk about the pricing, okay, because maybe you were wondering, okay, and how this is going to cost me. Okay, well, you can use Codoozer-Flows for free, okay, and there's no limit for that. You can add this to your website from today and start creating things for free. Okay, the only thing is that if you do it for free, of course, we're going to get some credit for that. Okay, and then this button, this powered by Codoozer, will show up in always below your steps. Okay, if you want to get rid of this, then you have to have a paid plan of Codoozer. Okay, so let me explain for all those of you who don't know about Codoozer pricing or Dojo pricing. Okay, let me give you a short talk about our pricing. Okay, well, I told you that Codoozer is part of Dojo. Dojo is here. Okay, so well, Dojo is a suite of tools that for creating content and managing it. Okay, when I say content, I am talking about software and content. Okay, you have, so for example, Dojo stories for editing small videos. You have Castor.io. From here you can go to our products. Okay, so Castor.io is for hosting digital files. Okay, for your company, you can put all your files here in this cloud. Okay, now we have Codoozer. With Codoozer, you can create native, super powerful native Android apps, and now also iOS apps. You can also create landing websites for promotions, things like that, and you can now create this flows feature, okay, with Codoozer. Okay, In the future, this year, you will be able to also create full websites with Codoozer, and we will let you create other kinds of software with Codoozer, okay? And we will keep adding products to Dojo, okay? So the thing is that since we have several products on Dojo, we didn't want to have different subscriptions for all of them, okay? So we just wanted to give you one subscription. I mean, not one, but I mean one only subscriptions on Dojo, okay? And our pricing is based on Dojo coin, okay? So this is like a virtual currency, okay? So basically you get a subscription. Well, the higher your subscription is, then the higher amount of Dojo coin you get into your account every month, okay? So basically you just get Dojo coin every month, and then you can use those Dojo coin for your different products, okay, depending on the use of Dojo that you are using, okay? For example, if you have an Android app and it's active, it's published on Google Play or wherever, okay, then you will need 10 Dojo coin per month. So if you want to remove on Codoozer this watermark, then you will need 10 Dojo coin per month, okay? So if you are only going to use a Codoozer-Flows, you just need the 10 Dojo coin plan, okay? If in case you want to remove this, okay, if this is not bothering you, you can use it for free in this case, okay? Okay, so if you have one Android app, one iOS app, and one Codoozer-Flow for your website, then you will need 30 Dojo coin, okay? And what if you only need one, for example, the Codoozer-Flows and one Android app? You only need 20 Dojo coin, but you will need to get the 30 Dojo coin. So every month you will get 10 extra Dojo coin that they will remain in your account, okay? So next month you will have more and more and more, okay? So after some time you will be able to use more products or stop paying a subscription and keep consuming your previous Dojo coin, okay? So, well, now we have a promotion during this week. So if you see this video this week and you want to get, I think it's 30% discount in the 30 Dojo coin plan, okay? You can send us an email to support@dojo.email, okay, and tell us that you want this promotion, and I will activate the promotion for you, okay? So, well, enough talking about pricing, okay? So yeah, so I think that's all for today, okay? I don't want to make this longer, okay? So yeah, next week I will, as I said, I will keep talking about how to get most of your Codoozer-Flows, okay? We will talk about design, more logic, and the targets. Sorry, my Google thing started talking, okay? So yeah, any questions here? I can stay here in case you have questions, or if not, then we will end up now. So let me give you 20 seconds in case you have any question. Well, I gave you some ideas of what you can do with Codoozer-Flows, okay? But these are only the ideas I had in mind. But of course, you have a lot of power here to create anything in your website, okay? It can only be just some design. I mean, you can add steps only if you want to make some parallax effects, things like that. Well, not the parallax, but if you want to put some mountains in your website, for example, to hide the content behind, you can do things like that, okay? Or you can add your widgets. We will start adding widgets or templates, things that you can do, okay? Well, you can make reservations, you can make surveys. We will keep giving you some tools. I talked about Calendly, but you can use Typeform, for example, for adding questionnaires, for example, in your website. You could add dialogues for the cookies consent, for example. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Okay, so yeah, we will be talking about possibilities in the future. Okay, so well, I don't see any questions, so as I said, it's time to say bye. Okay, well, subscribe to this channel, of course, in case you want to be informed about the next webinar next week, or to us, or follow us on Twitter. Okay, in case you want to get news about this. Okay, and I guess next week, not sure if Wednesday, maybe we will do the next webinar. Okay, so well, thanks a lot for being here, and thanks a lot for watching on YouTube as well, and see you in the next one. Okay, bye.